voted a year ago in another state.
That's correct.
And you just said that you've been in the state of South Carolina for 20-some years,
Yes, 20.
and you have never changed your voting to vote for anything in the state of South Carolina in those 20 years?
That's correct.
And so for the 20 years that you have been a resident of Georgia, you have always voted in Georgia
Mostly, yes.
and not in the state of South Carolina.
Correct.
And so we're here, and did you vote this time? Where did you vote this time?
In South Carolina,
In South Carolina. When did you change your voter registration?
January.
In January.
And with respect to voting in the state of Georgia,
Yes.
is there any requirement in the statute that you vote in the state of South Carolina before you register to vote in South Carolina?
No.
Is there any requirement that you own property in the state of South Carolina in your name
No.
before you register to run for court?
No.
Have you complied fully with all the requirements of the state of South Carolina to be qualified as a candidate for coroner in Orangeburg County?
Yes.
Is there anything in the law, the state of South Carolina says that you can't own property anywhere but in South Carolina?
No, there's not.
Thank you, sir. Please answer any questions. Well, sorry. That's all.
For the citizenship of South Carolina. He votes in Georgia, his registration is in Georgia, his home is in Georgia, he does everything in Georgia, but he comes here and he lives in air property in the state of South Carolina. But he says he's been in South Carolina for 20+ years. Now something is wrong with that. They say that you've been in the state of South Carolina for 20-some years, however, you've never changed your driver's license, you've never changed your vehicle, you've never changed your voting status. I think we all have seen television where one person calls himself living somewhere else, but voting somewhere else, and the trouble that comes as a result of that. And one of the things that we are here today for is to ensure the voting integrity in the state of South Carolina.
His domicile might be in Georgia because that's where his house is. But he's a resident of the state of South Carolina because that's where he pays taxes. If he was a resident of the state of Georgia, he would be required by law to pay taxes in the state of Georgia. So paying taxes is an indication, in fact, it's the only true indication of residency. It doesn't matter how many homes someone owns, but it does matter where they pay their taxes. And a question of residence is always a question of intent. Where do you intend your home to be? And how do you determine that question of intent? Where do you spend your money? What government do you support? He supports the government of the state of South Carolina. And that is conclusive.